Okay, recently, of course, there's been a lot of stuff in the news about Chick-Fil-A and homosexuals. And Chick-Fil-A, they don't like homosexuals apparently now because the CEO said he's not support of gay marriage. And all these supporters of whatever you want to call them. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Some of them are in support of free speech because honestly, the CEO of Chick-fil-A can say what he wants. It's a constitutional right to say I do not support whatever cause or whatever issue or whatever actions of a group of people that you don't want to support. You can say that. It's up to you. Some Christians were out there to voice their position on they also don't support gay marriage, and they don't agree with it, and they don't want to have anything to do with the marrying of gay people. And some people were out there, I guess, to get chicken. I'm sure. I didn't go to Chick-fil-A. I totally forgot that was Chick-fil-A Day, I guess. I actually went with my wife's side of the family to another restaurant. Anyways, I think my wife came up with a good point, and she asked me, what message are Christians bringing to the world at large? What are we saying to the people that see all these people going to Chick-fil-A, whether they're Christians or not? Because you don't have to support gay marriage and be a Christian. It doesn't necessarily have to be that way. But the question is, what are we showing the world whenever we all band together for whatever reason to go to Chick-fil-A because of the initial reason that the CEO of Chick-fil-A said he does not support gay marriage? Like, we have to ask ourselves why we are going there. Okay, if we are going there just for a cause, just because we do not support gay marriage, then is that the right message to portray to people? Do we say I don't support gay marriage, but I love homosexuals? If we do say that, how do we prove that? Our actions have to be part of our words. We have to be willing to treat homosexual people like we treat our heterosexual friends. When the Bible says that Jesus had compassion on somebody and it compelled him to an action, that is the same thing that we are supposed to follow. Okay, I've said this in other videos, but whenever the Bible says that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us, that shows the ultimate action to us failing sinners. Okay, he did not come into this world and then see a bunch of sinners and then disappear back up into heaven because, well, we're just a bunch of sinners. Yeah, that's not what happened, and it's a shame that Christians have forgotten the have compassion upon people, and they've turned to hating sin. It's like the only thing they do is hate sin. They don't talk to homosexuals, and if they do, there's some kind of agenda behind it. They don't see why this person is being a homosexual. You know, why is this person doing this? He should stop. Does he know that it's wrong? That is not how we treat people. It's never been how we treat people. That's not how Christ treated people. It's not how Christ treated people. And in the second chapter of Mark, we see that Jesus calls Levi to be his disciple, and then right after that, he's sitting in a house full of sinners and tax collectors with Levi. That is the epitome of somebody who understands what compassion is and what love is. Just because we do not support something doesn't mean that we have to hate the person who supports it. That does not make any sense. There are two types of knowledge when you read the Bible. There is God's knowledge and the world's knowledge. Okay, if you're not following God, you have the world's knowledge because you don't have any other way to think. Okay, when you have God's knowledge, you're supposed to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Okay, and you are constantly reading the Bible and studying it and being renewed in your mind and changing the way your old worldly mindset was. Okay, you are changing that. You are fixing that. You are being renewed. Okay, you are being changed by the renewing of your mind. We get off on this idea that everyone should think the way Christians think. However, the people who do not study the Bible, who are not Christians, who have not been transformed by the renewing of their mind, who have not given their life up to Christ, they don't think the same way Christians think. It's not going to be the same way. They're going to hate us. They're going to hate the way we think because our mindset is completely different than from what they think. Okay, so we're not going to change everybody. It's not going to happen. Some people will fervently hate us, and no matter what we say about, and no matter what we do, and no matter what our actions show, some people will still hate us, and they'll still say that we're homophobes and we don't like homosexuals, and that's simply not true. So let me recap. Christians need to think about one, what they are in support of, okay, and how that looks to the world. We need to think about that. That we cannot ignore that. And on the second part, we have to understand that the world does not think like Christians think. Okay, it's a different way of thinking. It's not going to be the same way. The third thing that I want to say is we need to treat homosexuality like every other sin. Okay, when the Bible says that Christ came into the world to save the world and not to condemn the world, that's John 3:17. That includes every single person on this world, and there were homosexuals back then. It's a sin like sin is. It's a sin that is sin. It's just a regular. It should be treated like sin, and we need to ignore the mannerisms of the human being and how they think, and treat them like a regular human being. This might be just me overthinking things, but if we treat the human being that is committing a sin like a human being that's committing a sin, maybe we'll actually change somebody. If we don't, if we stop hating the person who's sinning, then and we start loving the person, whether or not they're homosexual, then maybe someone will actually listen to us. Because right now, no one's listening to us. There's not a lot of love being pushed around by Christians, especially when it comes to homosexuals. We've come down with this idea that you should not be a homosexual. It is wrong. Well, so is lying, and so is pride, and so is arrogance, and so is not loving somebody. Okay, it's all wrong. We should love the people who are in the world and treat them like they are people, no matter who they are, and no matter what their proclivities are. It should not matter. That should not be an issue. If we treat liars and other sins and other people who commit whatever sin it is, whether it be murder or whatever, if we treat them with love, then why can't we treat homosexuals with love? Or maybe we don't treat anybody with love.